Hi guys, welcome to the Board Sailor. I am your host Avi, and as you can make out from the title of this video, I was just basically um, the victim of a racist comment, and I don't know, I'm still in shock. Long story short, my parents had come to North Carolina where I live and spent some time with me and my family. They live in New York, so 3 weeks ago I drove to New York. I caught them down here and because New York's in lockdown, I think they just started phase one today. But yeah, so I drove on Saturday, this past Saturday. I drove to New York. I dropped them off, and Sunday, the 7th of June, yesterday, I drove back from New York to North Carolina. And yes, it was a 1,100 mile round trip that I did in a span of 36-40 hours. I like long drives. It just gives me, you know, a sense of meditation, which is kind of weird because you're sitting in a car and you have to focus driving. But having to focus on driving, I guess, takes my mind off things. Plus, being in a car by myself, listening to music, I can process things in my mind, talk to myself. Again, talking to myself is weird in the car, but that's something I like to do. Uh, Leave a comment down below if you're one of those weirdos like me, who likes to have a conversation in the car with themselves. But yeah, I basically was driving down from New York to North Carolina, and I stopped at a rest stop in Virginia. It's one of those rest stops that you have right on the highway. Like you just take a little detour, and it's right there. So I, get off the rest stop. I put on my mask, and again, regardless of everything that's happening, we cannot forget that the threat of coronavirus is still out there. So I put on my mask, I go use the restroom, come out, and I see these couple of bikers, especially one riding a bike that I liked. So I just like was staring at it maybe for a couple of more seconds. And I had a T-shirt on that was honoring fallen veterans. It had a U.S. flag in the front. Plus, it also had veterans written on the patch on the side. And mind you, I still have my mask on. The one of the bikers basically asks me, "Did you serve?" And that's the moment I take off my mask and I let him know, "Yes, U.S. Navy." Now, most of the experiences that I've had in my life so far, when someone asks you that question and you answer them back by telling them, which branch of military service you're in, most of the experiences that I've had, people have immediately replied back saying, "Thank you for your service." Now, truth be told, that makes me feel awkward because the ship that I served on, the USS New York, which was built from the steel of 9/11, is something that I consider myself blessed and thankful to be part of, to having that honor to be one of the first crew members on that ship, and to be part of the whole, you know, inauguration ceremony, and the first cruise going through all the tests and the trials to make sure that the ship is capable to serve its mission and serve its purpose in the U.S. fleet. So, whenever people say thank you for your service, I do say welcome, but deep in my heart, I'm like, I'm the one who needs to be thankful because I was given the opportunity to serve on a ship that has so much significance to so many people. And, me living in New York at that time, my parents still living in New York, that had like an added bonus for me, an added sense of pride and honor that I always, took and still take and will take for the rest of my life. But yeah, I keep telling myself the honor is all mine because I have to be thankful. I'm the one who should be thankful that I was given an opportunity to serve, especially amongst such an awesome crew. Every person that I served with on that ship was absolutely fantastic, so was family. And but I'm going through that thing like, oh, this person, this biker might tell me, thank you for your service or something. And I was kind of bracing myself for it, but he just basically said, so they let people of all kind in the military now, huh? And he drives off. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I just stood there shocked. I was shaking inside. Like, did this really happen? Especially with all the demonstrations and all the protests that is happening all around the world, especially in America. Did this person just tell me that? Did this person just tell me that after I identified myself as a veteran? In a trance, I just got into the car. I called my wife. I called Marina, and I was like, you won't believe what just happened. It disturbed me all night. I made a post on Facebook, and again, the family that I served with on board that ship reached out to me, made me feel good. They made me feel safe again. Again, I can't believe that this happened. Not that I was shocked by the racial discrimination part, because people have been discriminating me, and I've faced remarks before. I've been called a red dotted Indian. I've been called a terrorist. I've been mocked by people who've come up to me and asked me to talk like Apu from The Simpsons. And, I felt weak at those moments. Like, I couldn't speak up. I let my silence take over the conversation. I couldn't stand up then, and I thought that by being part of the military, by my service, I bring some validity, some empowerment to myself and my identity. But when he said that, I think it wasn't the remark that he made that shocked me. It was the fact that he made the remark after I identified myself and my service in the United States military. Growing up, my teachers always used to say, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. He could have driven away, I still would have been like, okay, fine, He could have just nodded his head. I wouldn't have minded that. I wouldn't have felt disrespected, like if he just, put on his helmet, put on his goggles, and just drove off into the sunset. But the fact that he chose at that moment to say what he had to say, it shows that hatred that people still have. And I woke up this morning, and one of the first things I realized is, yes, that sentence, that comment shocked me, surprised me, it shook me to my core, but it was something that only happened in a span of like a minute. That comment was made over, like 15, 30 seconds. People of the African American community, black people, they face similar or worse racist comments, derogatory comments made towards them pretty much every day on a regular basis. This was one individual making that comment towards me, and that was it. But there's so many worse things that happen towards the black community based on the color of their skin. And it made me realize the magnitude at which the African American community, the black people, suffer. You know how you go to a doctor's office and they say, like, scale your pain on from 1 to 10. I'm probably at like a 0.5, and what black people and African American people go through are 9.5 or a 10. That's the difference. To the person who said what He said to me, you made me weak. You showed me that I need to be stronger. You showed me that I cannot let how people have chosen to, you know, reply to me when I let them know about my service is something that I shouldn't take for granted. I should be prepared that, people can sometimes reply back in a manner in which you are not expecting, and you need to be ready to answer them back. You have taught me a lesson, and for that, I will be thankful, because now, next time when someone asks me about my job or my military service or anything about my life, I will be a little bit more prepared to answer back. If they are kind to me, I will be kinder. But if they are mean, if they are a jerk, if you are, an asshole, uh, I will try my best to reciprocate that back to you and not just be silent and shocked. But again, dude, you know nothing about my service. You know nothing about the sacrifices that I've made, my family made, for me to be in service. You have no idea the support and the love that I have from the people who are most significant in my life. And thank you again for making me realize that I should not take the comment of an insignificant human being with a very frail ego, and let that take over my life, even if it is for a second or 5 minutes. Thank you for what you said, because now you have made me realize that some people are assholes, will be assholes, and there's nothing you can do to change them. But yeah, you can stand your ground, and next time I will. But yeah, that was basically my experience, and it made me look at things that is happening out there with a better perspective. But that was it, guys. Again, uh, if you don't agree with everything that's happening or anything that's happening, have a conversation. Don't let your opinions, don't let your disagreement with the situation build up, an anger against you, and you just vent it out at somebody. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Again, support the community, the veteran chapter on the link down below. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Be nice to one another. Be kind to one another. Be compassionate to one another. This is the Board Sailor signing off.